Okay, here's the sheath. It's definitely not in its original form. This is the original sheath that came with my Becker BK7 from Camillus. I think the ones by K-Bar nowadays are different, so everything I've done to this one was for the Camillus sheath. Never seen the K-Bar sheath, so I can't say. I assume a lot of the same things can be done. For me, the sheath needed more work than the knife. I was pretty disappointed with the sheath, and I really considered having a custom sheath made, but at the time I figured I'd just do a little ingenuity, some improvising, and improve it and suit my needs with what I had. So this is what I ended up with. So we'll start on this end and work forward here. So of course it has the tie downs, but I don't use those. What I did instead was, let me get them here for you, sewed some webbing loops into the side of the sheath, and then on this side is just the tie down string itself, and then this one here is a little loop of gutted 550 with I guess what you would call a ranger band. It's nothing more than a cut piece of inner tube, provides a lot of flex. What I find is this here gives me movement when after I tie it down, and if I squat or sit down or something and my leg flexes, this will flex but still keep the knife tight to my leg. Another reason why I like to add these tabs or tie most of my sheaths, excuse me, to my leg this way is this far up, it keeps the knife flatter to my leg, so it's not moving around. You can see right here, you got some play with it, but right here it's right across from the liner. There's no play, so on my leg here it will stay strapped to my leg and no movement. So that was the main reason, and I do most of my big knives like this nowadays too. So the next thing, moving on up, I'll talk about this last hopefully. The next thing here, we got a Kydex liner that came with the sheath. It was made so you could ambidextrously put the knife in. I'm left-handed, so I pulled the liner out. It was just held in with a little glue. Pulled it out, molded it so it would fit more for left-handed use. Slid it back into the knife sheath, and then just right inside on the can't really see it too well, but just on this area right in here down a little bit, I added some extra stitching to help keep the liner in there, and it's really tight. It doesn't come out at all, so that really helped improve. Now down here on the belt loop, a lot of work was done. The original belt loop was actually probably about this long out to here. I didn't like it. I mean, I like to have my knives lower, but I wasn't digging that real long belt loop. So you can see right here, actually, yeah, up here is some of the grommets that they had for an additional tie down, but I cut it off, folded it back over, and then just stitched it about all the way up to here. On both sides, of course, it's just folded and stitched, and then just left this little channel pocket here for my drop leg, which I'll talk about in a second. And so that was it. I think that was about it for the oh, also right down here you can see too, here's some additional stitching around the liner. It starts here, goes down, around, and up this way, and then I have, like I said before, some stitching along in here to just help tighten up the material. And then the material was pretty loose, so that extra stitching, it's all black so you can't really see it, but that extra stitching really helped hold that liner in there, and I got to use a pair of pliers to get it out now if I needed to pull it out, so it's in there good. And then this is the original snap, and the original snap is actually in the original position that it came with the sheath. So I just had folded it down like I said, cut it, re-stitched it, I melted the ends here so it didn't unravel. Now this right here is a drop leg, This is my preferred method to carry a large fixed blade knife. It keeps it off your, if you got a pack on or anything, you know, doesn't involve mess with the hip belt or cause you any irritation. Heavy winter clothing, or if you're wearing tactical gear or whatever, this little guy right here keeps the knife low to your leg, off your hips, excuse me. So it's just very simply made. If I can pull it out of here for you real quick. Alright, it's not coming out. Alright, anyway, it's just I think 2-inch tubular webbing that I folded over and stitched. You can see the stitch marks here, there and there, so I just folded it over and stitched it there, same side. The fold distance matches perfectly. I made this one especially for this knife, so it matches perfectly the distance on my belt loop. Lots of times when you would see these, if you've ever seen these done before, it's usually a fixed loop right here, you know, a fixed loop. I have seen them done with Velcro, and this one's done with slide buckles. I like the slide buckle or the Velcro idea best, because it allows you to take the knife on and off. I mean, if that's not an issue for you, where you know you have to don it and remove it, you know, like we say, you know, if carrying firearms, polite carry, you know, there's always places you can't legally carry, so you know you have to have a holster that you can take off easy and whatnot. That's mainly this reason here. I didn't have any good heavy Velcro to at the time, but I had these buckles, so I've just been using the buckles. Allows me to take it on and off. It allows me to actually, I can, you know, draw the buckle out, and if I want it lower even, I could do that. I would recommend for placement, make sure your placement is just low enough that when you drop your hand comfortably, it's right there. Your thumb can hit the snap. So when I wear this knife and my thumb is here, my hand drops comfortably, it's right like this, so my thumb can hit the snap and I can draw it. You don't want it real low. Well, if you want it real low, put it real low, but my recommendation is about there. So moving on, the pouch here, it used to have a elastic band over it. I cut the band off. Oh, fell out. Alright, so the first thing I normally keep in there, and it's usually right here, I'm going to talk about that in a second. Right here, when I first got the knife, years and years, the pouch stayed tight. The stuff in it stayed tight, but here recently, in the last couple of weeks, it started to loosen up, so my metal match here doesn't stay in there as well, so I gotta remedy that pretty PDQ, because I've dropped it once here already, so it's not good, and I've dropped it a couple of times, but I found it, so that's got to be remedied. Just a 4-inch, half-inch diameter with a little saw blade. This is my bread and butter for fire starting. I've had it many years. So that's right there in the side. Inside the pouch, there's a little bit of string, a little bit of gutted 550 and some trot line string. I'll talk about what those are for specifically in a minute. Right here is just some Gerber breast milk bags used as water containers, tin foil, a little Altoids gum tin with snare wire, needles, string, hooks, lines. I think there's another metal match in there, safety pins, some waterproof fire log, real basic stuff. So that's what's there. And then right here is just a homemade sharpening stone. It's wet dry sandpaper, double-sided tape, and a little bit of wood. This side I think's like 320 grit, so if I really dull it up or something, I can throw an edge back on it. And then this side here is 1500 grit for touch-ups in the field. And then the last little bits of kit I have, if I can get them out here, right here, stuck in between